Mein Name ist Birgit Atscher. Ich lebe in Berlin und ich bin zurzeit Mitglied der internationalen Jury für den europäischen Wettbewerb hier beim Szczecin European Film Festival.
My name is Cecilia Ledin. I work at the Swedish Film Institute as a film consultant for documentaries, which means I gives it money. But I'm based in Copenhagen, so I'm between two countries. And I'm here because I was invited with great pleasure to look at the European competition.
My name's Genevieve Bicknell. I'm from Edinburgh, in Scotland, and my movie was called Swallow.
My name is Tamino Perrin. I'm a documentary maker from the Netherlands. And last year I graduated with my film Never Be Clever.
Das ist eine interessante Gelegenheit, in komprimierter Form innovative Filme, Dokumentarfilme, die die Grenze zum Spiel, Animations-, Experimentalfilm überschreiten, von jungen Filmemachern hauptsächlich, denke ich, zu sehen. Sehr spannend.
Absolutely, I'm sure I came to the right festival. I mean, what we could see last night was that the program constitutes of many different ways of approach to the filmmaking, to the documentary genre, which I find very interesting. So I'm just looking forward to seeing more and concluding. I'm sure I came to the right place, for sure.
I was working in the place where the movie is set. It's a respite house for people with mental health problems. And when I was working there, everyone who would come to the house had come to stay for a week, to have a different sort of life, to have a break from their life. And they would fill out a form, and on the form it would just say a little bit about who they were, what they wanted to do, and what they could and couldn't eat. And always on every form, the dietary requirements, what they could and couldn't eat, was huge. And I was just always interested, why was that? I felt that there was some connection between food and well-being.
Never Be Clever is a film about Wouter. It's a portrait film about his autism and about the way he lives, the way he relates to the society he lives in, the way he relates to his own family. I observed him for about a year, I guess, and it resulted eventually in a very intimate portrait between the two of us. It was pretty much relied on strong conversations between us, a strong bond we built up together. And initially I found it quite fascinating, the things he made. He makes erotic comics, which is in most of the friends he has and most of the people who know his work find him a bit weird, a bit of a goofy guy. Well, I actually thought his comics were quite good, and I wanted to give him a sort of a platform in the film to provide him a bit more, to get him a bit more out of his isolated world.
Ich finde das sehr gut. Leider haben wir als Jurymitglied nicht die Möglichkeit, das Rahmenprogramm, das sogenannte, zu sehen, beziehungsweise alle Programme wahrzunehmen, sondern wir müssen uns natürlich auf den Wettbewerb konzentrieren. Und das ist natürlich auch gut so, damit wir eine gute, konzentrierte Arbeit machen können. Aber natürlich würde ich auch gerne in andere Programme Einblick bekommen.
I really enjoy when people experiment with the form and the cinematic language. So no, for me it suits very well, and I think that's the way we push the genre all the time, to dare be more experimental in the way we create our films. So absolutely.
The movie is made through different interviews that I did with people who stayed in the house, and I wanted to make it anonymous so that you don't see the people, so that they have privacy, they're not exposed. So that's why you never see anyone who speaks in the film, it's just their voices.
I make this movie because I was so fascinated by his way of living, the way he relates to his own family. They all live together in one big house, big farm, and the thing that kept them together is their father, who has a disease. He's in a wheelchair, and the mother takes care of the entire family. So the way they connect to each other, they all have separate lives in their own home, while at the same time they all live under the same roof. So I was really fascinated by their way of living, and which is exactly a sort of a constant repeating of life. Every day felt like it was the same day, and that was the thing that fascinated me the most. That every day was constant.
Ich finde es total wichtig, dass gerade auch für junge Filmemacher der Bezug zur Geschichte geschärft wird, beziehungsweise die Möglichkeit gegeben wird, das vielleicht auch einfach nebeneinander betrachten zu können.
Now I have to say, when I read the program, I haven't seen as much, but when I read it, I was very impressed, and I think it's a very nice mixture of different screenings and different kinds of films to be shown, which also means that you reach a broad audience, which I think is a really good thing when you have a festival, to have as many different kinds of people to come and watch your films as possible. So I think the program looked very well structured, actually.
Oh, I was really excited to come. As I have some good friends from Szczecin. I've always wanted to see what it's like. They're very artistic people, so I wanted to see what kind of place produced them. So it's a real privilege to be sharing here. And I'm really interested that this is a place for documentary and art together, and you don't often get that. It's really special to have.
I didn't really know what kind of festival really suited this film. I think it's an observing film, a very it's really documentary. It's really a film that is about me as the maker and him as a character, as a person, and the way we connect to each other. And well, I think it fits here, yeah.
Von Berlin aus betrachtet, wo es sehr viele und vielleicht manchmal zu viele Festivals gibt, ja klar, natürlich, auf jeden Fall. Vor allem, weil das so ein großes Festival im Vergleich zu Berlin eine relativ kleine Stadt noch ist. Also deswegen nochmal mit dem großen Programm, mit viel Rahmenprogramm. Ich finde es toll, dass sich das quasi so über die ganze Stadt ausbreitet und dann vielleicht auch über die Stadtgrenzen hinaus bekannt wird.
I think that the young people constantly surprise me in what they find interesting. And as long as the quality is there, which Walter Ruppmann has quality, and I'm sure that it can find a young audience as well. And I think even for myself, when I studied film as a much younger person, you're very inspired by what was made way back when that still is very good, you know, and that you need to know your film history to be able to judge modern films as well. So yes, very important.
The discussion that I had yesterday after the screening was really interesting. We got a lot of feedback from the audience, a lot of questions from the audience. It really felt like a discussion rather than just an answer and question session.
Well, there were a lot of questions from the audience, a lot. Actually, everyone kept asking what Wouter, the character, and his mother and his brother, what they all thought about the film, what their expectations were from the film. Those questions kept rolling, but it's actually initially that was my goal with the film, was that it asks more questions than it gives answers, which I think is fascinating about a short documentary. If you can tell in such a short time that when you observe a lot of people, it's not necessarily, you don't necessarily have to explain everything that happens in front of you. You can interpret as an audience to the images, and you don't have to explain everything. That was sort of the structure that I built in the film.
Okay, I think I like Szczecin because it's a really special place where the documentary and the artistic side come together, and you don't see that in many places.
Szczecin is for me, Szczecin is a lot of different architecture. I think there's a lot of different buildings, a lot of different styles, and that's what's really thought it was fascinating. Yesterday I visited down here and everything is really really different from each other. So there's they're very beautiful old monumental buildings, a lot of churches, a lot of parks, a lot of greenery, and a lot of history. So that's yeah, I thought it was a very nice place for a film festival.
I think Szczecin is a fantastic city. I'm so pleased to be acquainted with it and see the beauty of it. I'm very happy to be here.
Ludzie rejestrują i wpuszczają w sieć masę materiału bardzo dobrego.